Welcome to the Banjo Boot Camp. This first video, I'm just going to go over the basics, and we're going to go over the banjo parts, how to tune the banjo, your posture, how to place your right hand, and your practice schedule. So the parts of the banjo. I want to go through this with you so you understand it. When I might mention the nut, and you need to know what that means and what I'm talking about. So we'll go through the parts of the banjo. This is the ultimate tinkerer's instrument. Let's start up here. This is called the peg head. It can be very intricate, ornamental. All this is where the tuners are located, where they're attached. The tuners, that's where you tighten the strings and get your instrument in tune. This little plastic piece right here is called the nut. It just guides the strings up to the tuners. This whole piece here is called the neck. Okay. This flat part, this black flat part on top is called the fingerboard. It's also called the fretboard. This here on the fifth, here is called the fifth string peg. Okay. These metal pieces that go up the fingerboard are frets. And the fifth string peg sits here right on the fifth fret. Alright, now we come down here. This is the head. It's just like a drum. Okay? Right? This is the bridge. This is the tailpiece. This is called the armrest. Now the tailpiece, what it does is put tension on the bridge, and if it's too close to the head, it can put so much tension that it pushes the head down and actually mutes the sound. You don't want that. But also if it's too high, when you're picking, you can actually move the bridge. You don't want that loose either. Okay, so that can be adjusted. Your bridge needs to be placed at a certain point. So you want to adjust your bridge up or down such that your fretted note is the same as your chimed note. This metal piece that goes around the head here is called the tension hoop. And that's where you see these brackets here that connect to the tension hoop, and these brackets pull the tension hoop down to tighten your head up. Alright? This wood piece here is called the resonator, and that helps project the sound out. And the resonator is connected by these 4 bolts. Some only have 3. Alright, so I'm going to have to take my armrest off, take these bolts out to get the resonator off. And the key that will come with your banjo, usually, should fit the nut to your armrest. So you can take that off to get your resonator off. Alright, I got those bolts out, and your resonator will just pop off. Okay? Now on the inside here, this is the shell of the banjo, and these little coordinator rods here are used to actually adjust the action of your neck. I would suggest not doing that and getting a professional to do that, because you damage your banjo if you don't know what you're doing. If you see this little metal piece in here, that's the tone ring, okay, that the head sits on top of. Alright. And these brackets here, again, I said this key here will fit these brackets to tighten the head up. Now, to do that, you want to do it a little bit at a time and go all the way around a little bit at a time to get your head the right tension. Alright, so now I got my banjo back together. Let's talk about accessories you're going to need to play the banjo. About the first thing you're going to need is picks. We got 2 metal finger picks and 1 plastic thumb pick. Your finger picks fit on like this, and your thumb pick like this. Now, I've seen some players, they have their picks extending, you know, almost a 1/4 inch or more away from their fingertip. Mine are just a little bit further away from the ends of my fingers. You can adjust these and get them to fit tight. I use Nationals. You can get these out of my shop if you'd like. But you got to have these to get a good volume out of your banjo. Okay? I'd also suggest getting a strap right away, because you want to learn while you're sitting down. Eventually you'll learn to play standing up, but even a strap, even while you're sitting down, will help you, you know, hold the banjo and keep it secure. I also would suggest getting a tuner. This is electronic tuner. I started using a pipe for tuning, but these electronic tuners are out there all over the place. You can get them attached to your peg head, and you always have something to stay in tune with. That's something you're going to have to learn how to do, is to tune your banjo. A lot of jokes out there about banjo players being out of tune all the time, so you want to be in tune. And talking about tuning, so let's go ahead and look at that. So the banjo strings, all right, starting from the bottom here, going up, is first string, second, third, fourth, fifth. They are tuned to first string D, second string B, third string G, fourth string D, and fifth string G. Okay, that's open G tuning. There are other tunings to the banjo, but this is by far the most standard tuning you're ever going to see with a banjo. So you want to learn how to take your tuner here, and if I hit a string, okay, you hear that click, that means that string is in tune. That is a G, and on this tuner it says G3. The B is a B3. The D is showing a D4. This D is a D3, and the high G on the fifth string is a G4. So you want to be, all you got to do is, I like to, when you tune, I like to be a little on the flat side or lower note. You know, let's say I'm down here and I want to tune this up to the correct note. I want to go. There you go. So it's easier to go from low to high to get it in tune. Now that is using an electronic tuner to get all your strings in tune. Again, pretty easy. They're all out. They're out there everywhere. You can get them from my shop. What if your battery's dead, or you just, you know, when you happen to be playing and you're playing, all of a sudden you hear something doesn't sound right there, right? So how would you then get that in tune if you didn't have a tuner available? And so this is what I'm going to show you, is called relative tuning. Okay. Well, the fourth string fretted at the fifth fret is the same note as the third string open. Okay. So if I thought my third string was out, I can hit the fourth string at the fifth fret. Okay, and you hear that's a lot lower, right? So you hear that note. That sounds right. And you check that against the second string, because the third string fretted at the fourth fret is the same as the second string open. Second string sounds a little low. Okay, now the second string fretted at the third fret is the same as the first string open. That sounds a little off. Oop. Okay, that sounds right. Now the first string fretted at the fifth fret is the same as the fifth string open. That sounds right. We're in tune. Okay, now, so, you know, if you're out of tune, you're playing with a guitar player, he'll say, hey, give me a G, right? Hit your third string, and you match that to your third string, and you just try to match that note, and then relative tune all your other strings to that note. Okay? So now let's talk about posture when you're practicing and learning and playing, and your right hand positioning. Okay, so posture. You need to get yourself a seat with a nice straight back. My back's not even touching this seat. I'm sitting straight up. I've got the banjo neck sitting at about a 45-degree angle here. Okay, this is how you want to be sitting when you play. You got the banjo. You know, most people have it right here in front. Well, my belly's a little big, so it's off to the side a little bit. But if you're a flat belly, get it right here in front and play like this. Right? It's a little more comfortable for me right here. But now your right hand. If you go out there and look online, you might see some players who are really contorted like this. What they're doing is trying to get pick the strings and have their picks hit the strings as flat as possible on the strings. Now you don't have to do that. Really, if you just relax your hand, and imagine you're holding a tennis ball or something, and just relax your hand. Okay, and now set your arm on the armrest, and just drop your pinky right next to the bridge, just right there, and just relax. That's about the right position you want your right hand in. You don't want to be relaxed back here like this. That's way too off, because you're going to be hitting the strings to the side. There's no way you can hit it flat right there. Get your hand up here around. You want to hit the strings flat with your picks, not on the side, okay? Now, your thumb, as you notice, my thumb is sticking out here a little bit to this side, closer to the neck than the bridge, than my other fingers are, right? You want to give all three of your fingers a nice path to move. If you're over here like this, they're going to be running into each other, right? You're going to be up and over, have your thumb out here a little bit further, closer to the neck. And it's just to relax, really, is all it is. Relax your hand, set it down. Your wrist is a little pronated here, right? And your thumb picks down, your fingers pick up, okay? So there's a lot of controversy on whether you anchor your pinky or your pinky and your ring finger, or maybe just your ring finger. Basically one or both fingers on the head. I anchor my pinky only. There's a lot of great players that only anchor their pinky. There's a lot of great players that anchor both. It's a personal thing. You know, some people's ring fingers just follow their other fingers a lot more than the others. When you set your hand down, you want to have an anchor on that head. You don't want to press down too hard. That would mute the sound, but it's just setting it down and giving you some stability for your picking. Now you can see on my head here where that's worn out. That's where my pinky rests, right there on my head. So, you need to anchor one of your fingers or both of them. Now, where I'm sitting right here with my right hand, how close to the bridge here, is called the X position. You can also play up here closer to the neck, and that would be called the Y position. Now listen to the difference here versus you can hear the difference in that tone. So as you start to play up the neck, you want to kind of move your right hand closer to the neck with it. And so down the neck, you want to play back here in the X position, right? As you move up the neck, you want to get your hand up here in the Y position to get a better tone out of your up the neck notes. Okay? So that's the difference. It's basically, you kind of do this. As you move up the neck, your right hand moves closer to the neck. As you move down the neck, it moves closer to the bridge. Okay? Now, alright, now let's talk about your practice schedule. You're trying to learn an instrument. I'm assuming you've never played a stringed instrument before in your life. It's going to take some time. You're going to have to put in some time practicing this thing. Now, I've set my lessons up like as if we had one-on-one lessons, we'd have one lesson a week. And so I'm setting these lessons up as if this is what I would teach you in that one lesson. And it would take you all week to practice and be able to do what I showed you the very next week. Okay? So I've tried to set these lessons up like that, where you should be able to get this done in about a week and be ready for that next lesson. Now I've also set milestones to make sure you're ready. So these milestones, you need to be able to play through these milestones without any mistakes. I think in some of my other videos I say with minimal mistakes, you honestly should be able to play through these milestones with no mistakes. Then you know you're ready to move forward, okay? You're going to need to practice probably at least an hour a day. So you need to set yourself aside some time each day that you know you can be alone, you can have to be quiet, you won't be interrupted, and you just practice for a solid hour every day. If you can go longer than an hour, great. And I'm going to tell you how I did it. Now I was only 15 years old when I started, and we had just moved to a new town, so I didn't know a lot of people. I practiced probably an average of 3 to 4 hours every single day. And I'm not saying you need to do that. but I would say put as much time in as you can. It's probably going to, you know, if you put in at least an hour a day, I would say you should be able to get through these lessons in about a week at a time. So it is going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight, but you will get there. Go through the lessons, practice as much as you can, and you will achieve your goal of learning to play the banjo.